Thank you, Blake. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending this session. As Blake mentioned, I'm Michael Randoni, Vice President of Mobile Solutions for EBE. And with me is my colleague, Rocco Merari, Vice President of Imaging and Workflow. So if we could, we'd like to start with just a little bit about EBE. Rocco?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. We are now in our 46th year of business and are the leading provider of transportation-specific content management and workflow solutions. We have over 600 clients throughout North America and have developed an entire suite of software solutions that allow our clients to work by exception to truly maximize productivity. This morning, we would like to share a value-added approach to just one of our softwares, our Connect mobile capture solution, and how it drastically changes how our clients manage their business.
Yeah, so as you're going to see here very shortly, our mobile solution is much more than just a document capture application. It's a strategic, integrated mobile workflow that really leverages our real-time integration into dispatch, but more importantly, allows instantaneous visibility to content being received by the system. So when the driver launches our application, the very first thing they're going to see is a configurable list of different batch types. And what batch types are is it allows us to categorize documents and photos into different groups. So certainly we could have trip documents, we could have safety documents, claims documents. But more importantly, based on the batch type the driver selects, allows us to route that content into specific locations into the back office. So trip documents could go into billing and settlement, whereas safety could go into a safety and compliance workflow. When the driver selects a batch type, then they're prompted to select a configurable list of different document types. And this is configurable to your organization, even down to the division level. But once the driver selects, for instance, bill of lading, then they're prompted, if you want, they're prompted to enter in key index values that we can use from the field to update the TMS system. Once the driver selects a document type, it immediately opens up the camera application, and the driver captures that document. Now, what happens here is unique to our application. We have built into our application what we call our capture wizard. And what the capture wizard does is it actually monitors the way in which the driver is attempting to capture that particular document. And if they're capturing that document appropriately, as you'll see in this example, it's going to highlight the border of the document in green for cropping purposes. And then it's going to instantaneously optimize the image. Now I'm going to come back to the optimization process here in a second. So once the driver saves that image, it then immediately takes them to a completed documents queue, where they can see that they've already captured the bill of lading, and then they can capture subsequent documents. So again, we'll capture maybe a delivery ticket at this point. The driver then, right from this interface, will select delivery ticket, automatically opens up the camera application on the device, and they can capture it. The capture wizard deems this one a good capture and allows the driver to save the image. Okay? And then we optimize the image again. Now, I want to show you an example of where the driver's attempting to capture a document inappropriately. So we'll capture the fuel ticket, for instance. So the driver selects fuel ticket. It's going to immediately then open up the camera application on the device, and the driver's going to capture this document. Now you'll see, once the driver captures the document and attempts to save the image, it immediately highlights the border of the documents in red, indicating to the driver this is an inappropriate capture. It's not going to be able to be sent. They can't save this image. What it's going to do is actually pop up a message in the application itself that immediately tells the driver what he or she's doing wrong with that particular capture. So it's a way in which we can reinforce good capture practices right within the application. They can tap on the image. It opens up the camera application on the device again and allows them to capture the document appropriately. And at this point, it will allow them to save the image. Now, let me go back to the optimization process, because this is key. When we optimize an image, what we're doing is actually two different things. One is we're actually converting this image to a clean black and white. So the image the driver's looking at this particular point is the same image that's going to be used by your billing staff. So when they zoom in, scroll around, look at it, they're looking at the very same image. It's the image that's going to go into the imaging system. It's the image that's going to accompany the invoice going out to the client. But more important than that is we've taken this file size from what might be an 8 or 9 megabyte or greater file size, if it's a JPEG or a PDF, that are being sent by competitive apps, and we're actually reducing the file size down to 50 or 60 kbytes. So we're drastically reducing the impact on your data plan or your data consumption across your network. Okay? So once the driver has then saved this image, they can just systematically go through and save all the documents for their particular load. And then once they're completed, they can just go ahead and hit send batch. And if you'll remember, we're an on-premise solution, so what's going to happen immediately is we've got an application that's watching for these incoming documents, and it's going to immediately send a confirmation back to that driver to indicate that that particular transaction was completed, and really there's nothing left for them to do. The other value proposition of our application is we have a little process that runs that's called our Settlement Assistant. And what our Settlement Assistant does, it's actually monitoring for these incoming batches, looking at the different batches. And as I mentioned earlier, we're able to route documents based on the batch type. But if it sees a batch type, say for instance, of trip documents, it's going to interrogate that batch and look to see if it has all the documents needed for billing purposes. If it does, it's going to go ahead and pass it into the billing workflow. If it does not, it's then going to trigger an alert back out to that driver immediately to indicate to that driver they've just submitted the paperwork for that particular load, what load number it is, and what documents are missing for that particular load. So it's a way in which we can instantaneously let the driver know what's expected of them, what's outstanding. It's a way in which we can ensure the driver is going to get paid in a timely fashion as well. Not only that type of alert, but we can also send alerts to the driver on a periodic basis, a roll-up alert that allows them to get information on a predetermined time. So maybe it's every Wednesday at noon they get a roll-up alert with all the loads they've delivered that have missing or late paperwork. We can also send alerts for when their settlement has been posted to the driver portal. We can send alerts to them of various natures. It could be alerts based on different events that are triggered within our workflow. So again, we're bumping up against our time. I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity. I'd like to thank FreightWaves for the opportunity to present. And we look forward to seeing all of you at our kiosk. Come by and talk to Rocco and myself about all of the features being built into our application, but all the features, or excuse me, all of the solutions that EBE has to offer. So thank you very much.